Recorded Books and RB Digital present The Great Secret, the classified World War II disaster that launched the war on cancer, by Jennet Conant, narrated by John Kroft. In wartime, truth is so precious that she should always be attended by a bodyguard of lies. Winston Churchill. The real war will never get in the books. Walt Whitman. Prologue. Little Pearl Harbor. When the two Time Life war correspondents arrived in the old port town of Bari on Italy's Adriatic coast on Thursday, December 2nd, 1943, they were delighted to find the bars and restaurants open and doing a booming business. Will Lang, a 29-year-old veteran American combat reporter, and George Roger, a trailblazing English photojournalist 6 years his senior, grabbed the first empty table in the Albergo Oriente, a glass-fronted hotel on a wide, tree-lined boulevard in the new part of the city. Exhausted, they collapsed into the rickety chairs and grinned at each other. By some stroke of luck, they had a 2-day layover and planned to take a little break and overindulge in the local wines before returning to the grind. Even though the front lay only 150 miles to the north, Bari seemed not to have a care in the world. The British had taken the capital of Puglia unopposed in September, and the citizens had celebrated in the streets, relieved and grateful to fall under Allied protection. The shop windows were full of fruit, cakes, and bread, along with other delicacies not seen since before the war. Waiting customers happily gossiped, argued, and haggled. Young couples strolled arm in arm as they had for centuries. Even the ice cream vendors were doing a brisk winter trade. An incongruous sight for the journalists after having passed lines of women and children begging for black market food only a few miles outside of the town. After witnessing the chaos and misery in one village after another flattened by German bombs, the men were amazed that the medieval city, with its massive cliffs cradling the sea, had escaped the fighting almost unscathed. Its famous landmark, the gleaming white Basilica di San Nicola, home to the crypt of St. Nicholas, appeared intact. It was good to know that in the midst of this terrible war, at least the bones of Father Christmas still rested in peace. No doubt High Command had ordered that the splendid harbor be spared. Bari was a crucial Mediterranean service hub, supplying both the American 5th and the British 8th Armies, which comprised the better part of the 500,000 Allied troops engaged in driving the Germans out of Italy. The grand buildings along the waterfront were the newly designated headquarters of the 15th Air Force, under the command of General James H. Jimmy Doolittle, leader of the daring raid on Tokyo. He had arrived on December 1st and was busy trying to locate his personnel and get his organization, based 75 miles away at the Foggia airfields, off the ground as quickly as possible. Much to Doolittle's chagrin, he was only there in a supporting role. The liberating Tommies had already chased the Nazis from the skies over Italy, and his long-range B-17 flying fortresses, B-24s, and fighter groups were being brought in to help mop up and expand the strategic bombing campaign against Germany. The British, who controlled the port, were so confident they had won the air war that earlier that afternoon, Air Marshal Sir Arthur Cunningham had arranged a press conference to announce that Bari was all but immune from attack. Radiating an irritating self-satisfaction, he assured the gathered reporters that the RAF had knocked out the Axis forces in the Mediterranean, adding, "I would regard it as a personal affront and insult if the Luftwaffe should attempt any significant action in this area." The port was teeming with activity. Some 30 Allied ships, British, Dutch, Norwegian, and Polish, were crammed into the harbor, taking up every available spot within the breakwater. 4 days earlier, the American Liberty ship John Harvey had pulled in with a convoy of 9 other merchantmen. The vessels were tightly packed against the seawall and all along the pier, moored so closely they were virtually hull to hull. The dockyards were
Sample complete. Ready to continue?